Fallout New Vegas is one of my favorite games of all time, and a perfect encapsulation of the post-apocalyptic genre. Anyone who's ever played this game is familiar with the extensive modding scene behind it. I've already made a video going over some of my favorite New Vegas mods that you can watch here, but what if you want something more specific? What if we could turn New Vegas into a hardcore survival shooter in the same vein as Stalker or Metro? With this mod list, that's exactly what we're going to do. All mods will be listed down below. Onto the video. In order to turn New Vegas into the ultimate survival game, we're first going to have to tweak some of the base game settings, namely the difficulty. Hardcore mode is the highest difficulty in New Vegas. Not only does it make combat harder, but it also adds the need to eat, drink, and sleep. Now regular hardcore mode is fine and all, but let's do some tweaking to it. The first mod we're going to install is J Slayer Ultimate Edition. This completely overhauls the difficulty in the game. To start, our base health and carry weight are much lower. It also changes the thresholds for food, water, and sleep. It takes longer to meet the first threshold, but once that first one's met, the subsequent thresholds are met much faster. This is just a small change, but it makes the game feel so much more realistic. Now, J Slayer actually changes a lot of stuff in the game, but for now, we're just going to focus on what I mentioned above. Moving on, our next mod is Stupid Simple. No fast travel means exactly what the name implies, removing fast travel from the game. This makes our survival mode much like Fallout 4's. Now, not having traditional fast travel might sound like a turnoff for a lot of players, but if you're anything like me, you won't regret it. New Vegas has a really rich and deep map, and not being able to teleport around it allows you to find things you never would have seen before. I don't want to have strictly zero fast travel though, so we'll slap on the mod Caravan Travel Fast Travel Alternative. This mod allows us to hitch rides with caravans to many key areas in New Vegas' map. It's a good compromise for those who don't want to spend all their time walking. Saving is a big part of survival mode. There isn't exactly a lot of tension if you save scum around every corner, so we're going to use simple Fallout 4 survival saving. This makes it to where you can only save when using a bed. Now, beds are a limited resource in New Vegas, which is why this mod pairs nicely with the portable campsite. This allows us to set up a small camp while exploring the wasteland. It's hard to describe just how intense every firefight is when your last save was half an hour ago. This can lead to losing lots of progression upon death, but it also teaches you to play more conservatively. You start to plan more instead of just rushing straight into battle. Setting up a camp the night before an engagement to save and take stock in resources is incredibly immersive on top of that. Having such a small carry weight can really be a struggle in these games, so we're going to use better balanced backpacks. There are a lot of great backpack mods out there, but Better Balanced is a really good framework to start with. It also has a really good damage model for the backpacks, meaning yours can get damaged during combat if you're not careful. This is perfect to deal with the punishingly low carry weight that comes with the J Sawyer mod. Take some time and find a good backpack mod for you, but you should really start with Better Balanced backpacks. Water is the key to life in survival mode, but it can end up taking up precious inventory space. Universal water bottling allows the player to fill up empty bottles in their inventory straight from the source. This mechanic just makes sense, and it's kinda dumb we're not allowed to do it in the OG game. This isn't a huge mod by any means, but it's just a small quality of life improvement that'll make your playthrough much more enjoyable. While out exploring the wasteland, one's health should be top priority. Simple Diseases adds over 20 new illnesses to New Vegas, all of which have different side effects and debuffs. You get these illnesses from eating bad food, drinking untreated water, or even wild animal attacks. When it comes to treating said diseases, you can either choose to wait it out or seek medical attention. Some of these debuffs can be brutal, so think twice before making any risky decisions. I'm a sucker for Fallout 4 survival mode, and once again, this is just another mechanic that seems ripped straight from it. When it comes to consumables, we're going to be using Animated Ingestibles and B42 Inject. These two mods add new custom animations for eating, drinking, and using stim packs. Nothing too much to say here, other than these animations being super clean and immersive. Radiation is just a part of life in post-apocalyptic America, but there really isn't enough consequences for it in the base game. Radiation is actually dangerous, completely overhauls the radiation system in the game. It makes it like Fallout 4's system, where your rads bite into your overall health. Radiation sickness is present in New Vegas, but I can count on one hand the amount of times it's been an issue for me. With this new system, radiation is a much more pressing issue. Consumables like Radaway and Radex are now more useful, and irradiated areas have to be navigated more carefully. The desert is hot, and no mod captures this better than Heat Stroke. You now have to manage your body temperature, staying warm and cooling off when needed. It's really simple as hell. If you're somewhere hot, you'll be hot. You can cool off by going inside or even staying in the shade. You can also mitigate this by equipping certain items. Different armor have different protection against the elements, and even hats lower your body temperature. This is just another stat you have to micromanage, so if you're a sick freak like me that's into that stuff, give it a download. In a world as harsh as Fallout's, the elements aren't the only thing you have to worry about. A good weapon goes a long way, so let's take a look at some weapon mods. Weapon requirement system harshly changes how weapon strength requirements work. Now, if you don't have the required skills, these weapons are borderline unusable. Decreased accuracy, increased bullet spray, and even longer reloads are what you can expect to face. This makes it to where you no longer beeline to the best weapons in the game. Instead, you're more likely to stick with what you can use. We're going to pair this with increased weapon jamming, making jams much more common at lower conditions. In the base game, jams can only happen when reloading. With this mod, they can happen anytime. This seems to always happen at the worst possible times, so you're going to want to keep your weapons in good shape. Lastly, B42 Drop Mag and One in the Chamber is a mod that adds some more realism to the firearms in New Vegas. Now when you reload your gun, you drop the empty magazine on the ground. It also introduces True Reload, which means all ammo left in a discarded magazine is discarded with it. No more reloading after shooting one round. To make the Mojave a bit more dangerous, we're going to start off with two mods. Mojave Raiders and Mojave Wildlife both set out to make the wasteland feel a bit more populated. Wildlife does this by adding hundreds of new creature spawns across the map. It doesn't just toss these creatures around the map haphazardly though. These spawns actually make sense in game. For example, you're now going to find more feral ghouls on the road to Repcon, and more super mutants around Black Mountain. Raiders does more or less the same thing, only with, well, raiders. It takes the raider factions present in base game and completely flushes them out. Not only are they more prevalent, but they're also more lore accurate. There are a bunch of small changes added that really bring the experience together. The last mod we're going to use to fill the world out is Living Desert. This adds hundreds of new NPCs and scripted events out in the Mojave. Traveling soldiers, tourists, prospectors, and other lore-friendly NPCs now inhabit the wasteland. Now that we don't have fast travel, this mod does an excellent job at filling out the space between objectives. Now, use all three of these mods at your own discretion. Some say that all three of these make the wasteland too crowded and busy. You might want your desert to feel a bit more desolate and empty. Personally, I enjoy the more filled out wasteland, but just keep that in mind. With all these mods installed, New Vegas has turned into one of the best survival shooters out there. If you have any other mods that deserve to be on the list, tell me down below. I'm always looking for more great ones to add. If you liked the video, liking and subscribing helps the channel out a lot. I think that's all for me. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.